I do want to get to the red carpet to Brianna Keilar, Peter Hamby, Jon Favreau. Hey, Bri.
Hey there, Poppy, and we're actually joined now by a very special guest, Kate Andersen Brower, whose new book, which is really a scintillating look inside of the White House to the men and women who over the decades have served president after president. It's called The Residents, and it goes to #1 on the New York Times bestseller list tomorrow. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And also, Kevin Spacey's production company has bought the rights to it, so we're looking at a dramatic series coming up.
Yes, it's kind of like a House of Cards meets Downton Abbey, at the White House, and sort of talking about the real life, stories that happen every day with the butlers, the maids, the chefs, and how they interact with the first family at the White House. It's a human story.
And we should mention that you were a White House correspondent, and this is how you came up with the idea. Tell us a little bit about that.
I was a White House correspondent for Bloomberg News for several years, and I came up with the idea when I was at a lunch with Michelle Obama, and it was all very, it was in the old family dining room on the state floor of the White House, a room that you rarely get to see as a White House correspondent, and a butler was coming in and out of the room serving her, and she clearly had a rapport with him, and it made me wonder, who are these people? And it really is the supporting cast of the White House, the Downton Abbey at the White House.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
How far back did you go in your research?
I started with the Kennedy administration, and some of these people started, during Eisenhower's administration even, and sadly, a few of these butlers I interviewed have passed away in the past few years, when I started my research, but they are really the only people left who remember what the Eisenhowers and the Kennedys were really like, and I think that's very important.
Right.
It was to talk to them.
Not to get too in the weeds on the Hollywood aspect of your book, but have you been able to glean any sense of why Spacey is so fascinated by Washington?
I just think it's,
he really loves this.
Right,
In every cutaway shot we see, he's just totally having a great time.
It's great fodder for a dramatic series. The fact that there are these human relationships, we know a little about what the president and the first family are really like, and I think delving into that, even with House of Cards with this last season, you can see a lot of that interaction with the butlers standing there and the president and the first lady arguing, and them kind of witnessing this silently and not revealing any of this. They're very discreet. I think it makes a perfect TV series.
Right.
And so back to the dinner here. You've been to a number of these dinners, and we actually pulled up a picture of probably one of your favorite moments that just shows how weird things can get here. Tell us about this.
It's amazing. I invited General Richard Myers to the dinner, and he was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and they sat us, strangely enough, next to Pamela Andersen, and the two of them chatted all night. And
about what?
Military strategy and things like that. Yeah, she was very interested in it. Her son was fascinated with it, and he had a great time. He was absolutely
Of course he did.
Yeah, beyond. But that's what happens at these dinners, right? You have that's the juxtaposition of these celebrities with these very serious officials. And that's what makes it so interesting.
And also that she would have an interest. You would
Right.
think she's an actress, and that's probably her wheelhouse, but she's interested in the military.
Right.
Yeah, and all of us have found when you talk to actors or celebrities, athletes who come here, again, a lot of people in DC are jaded about this event, but people do come here with wide eyes, and you could be a famous correspondent, you could be someone who works at the White House, you could just be Joe Schmo producer at a network, and I've found that talking to people, they're genuinely curious about, campaigns, politics, how it works here. Hollywood and Washington view each other with sort of this exoticism, and they just want to figure each other out.
Yeah, she was excited to be here. She was doing something for PETA at the time, but she told me she was going to the Exorcist Steps near Georgetown to go see them, and she was like a tourist. And I think a lot of the celebrities come here as tourists, and they see it with fresh eyes, and they're excited by it, which makes me more excited by it, because when you, like you said, when you live here, you do get kind of jaded, and it's not as interesting, but it is a fascinating place to be.
And all right, and we're going to head back to Poppy in New York, and special thanks to Kate Andersen Brower for talking, and congratulations. Fabulous news about your book, The Residents, that it goes to the New York Times bestseller list. #1 tomorrow, Poppy.
It's
That's
amazing. I got to have
Yeah.
Kate on my show a few weeks ago and was uber impressed with her, but she sets the bar so high because, Bri, now we have to go write New York Times bestsellers and then get them to buy the movie rights and all that stuff.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No big deal.
No big deal. NBD. Congrats, Kate. That's awesome. Laurie Segall, join me here because next we're going to talk about the woman headlining the night, Cecily Strong, and I know she is preparing.
She is. Everyone's buzzing about her. They can't wait to hear from her. There are a couple pictures that were just posted that are so lovely. There's one from Saturday Night Live where it's a picture of her and the Obamas. She's obviously getting ready for her big moment. You're looking at it right there. And then there's another one, and I love this puppy. It's kind of a behind-the-scenes look at her practicing her lines. And if you look very closely, you can see the Obamas kind of in the background. So you can tell she's probably a little nervous, but she's prepping as she should.
Little backstory here. She told me when I interviewed her that she found out like 6 months ago about this gig, but tried not to prepare until just a few weeks ago because it was just way too much pressure. Can you imagine knowing that, the weight of that on your shoulders? And we are just moments away from this program and Cecily Strong and the president speaking. We're going to dip in as soon as that begins, but also we're going to hear from her. You know her from SNL, the girl you wish you hadn't started a conversation with at a party. My interview with Cecily Strong next.